Hi everyone, it's Nancy McNally, and today we're going to work on week 5 of the Fall Quilt Along 2025. So the first block we're going to work on is the Spinning Friendship Star. Now this is a block that I am the original designer of, but it's very easy to put together. So let's download our pattern, get our fabrics ready, and you can sew along with me. In today's tutorial, what we're going to work on is this block over here, and then I'm going to show you a trick with the corner units in the quilt block. So what I'd like to show you today is it's part of the pressing. So if you've never seen this before, you're going to take your fingers. Now this is the blue half square triangle, sorry. You're going to take and you're going to pull it apart like this. So this side comes towards you and this side goes away. And see how that little four patch forms right there in the middle, right here? That helps to distribute the bulk of the seam allowances before you press. So it's just a little trick that a lot of quilters already know. So I do that, and then we'll go and we'll press that. And now the seam allowances are going to go this way, and you get that little four patch in the middle. We are going to begin this unit right here. Let me put it in the right direction. So when I go to make these units, I always lay them out the way they're supposed to be because these are directional. You are going to be making 4 of the same unit, but they are still directional. So I lay these out and we're going to sew these 2 first. I'm going to go right sides together. And then we're going to sew right here. Put a pin in this side because this is the side you're going to sew, or add a clip to it because this is the side you're going to sew. I'm going to get mine sewn. So you're going to make 4 of these. And then you're going to press that seam allowance open. No trimming yet. Just leave it. Now we're going to attach our green triangle to this unit. So what I've done, see if you can see that, I have creased that. So what I do is I lay it down, face down, and then I fold it over so it's wrong side to wrong side, and then I crease this with the iron. I'm creasing the center. Now I can take this unit and that seam allowance, which is the center, and align it with that creased mark from the iron. And we just line these up, align these raw edges right here, and sew. And if you need to place a pin or a clip in it to hold it steady, then go right ahead and do that. And that's what it looks like when it's finished. Now I'm going to press this. I'm going to press this seam open. I'll be right back. So this is our stitch and flip corner that's going to go in the corner of this unit. But right now we're not going to attach this. We need to trim this to size before we attach this yellow stitch and flip square. I'm going to place that up here. I'm going to show you how to properly trim this unit to size. So you're going to need your rotary cutter and a ruler that you can hold steady with your hand. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is rotate this because I want this diagonal seam to be along this side so I can put the ruler. You'll see in just a minute. I'm going to show you how to position it. Okay, so most people would go directly down here. Now, honestly, I recently just figured this out. I'm like, oh, this makes more sense. Okay, so I have it where it's supposed to be trimmed to, but you need to check your corner down here. So I'm going to move the ruler just slightly. You need to check this corner down here to see if this seam allowance right here, this seam lands right where it should be, and you should not end with like a blunt corner because these are 2 triangles that come together to form a corner. So that center seam needs to land on the measurement that we're trimming it to. So I'm going to hold this steady, and I'm actually going to stand up to make sure that I've got it correct. Now the other thing is I'm going to move it forward just a little bit, just a little bit. And what I've done is I'm probably going to have to trim off a little bit here, and see right here, that's not lined up correctly. So let's move it back, and now I believe I've got it to where both of them are landing in the corners. That seam allowance. You're like, what are you talking about? This seam right here needs to land in the corners of the unit. So I'm going to trim. I'm holding that ruler steady. And I'm going to trim there. All right, get it as close to that as you can. Now, look, it landed perfect. And I got to trim that little spot right there. So I'm going to rotate the ruler so I know that that corner is good. Place the measurement on the ruler that the block needs to be. Now, this is running directly on that seam, the 45-degree line from the ruler. I'm going to trim that. And now it's perfect. Now, your next step, really easy. You're going to do the stitch and flip. So I have my stitch and flip corner. I'm going to place it right here in the corner, and then I'm going to get this sewn. We're going to sew on this side of the drawn line. I'm going to have the needle run right along this edge right here. That way, when I fold this piece over, after we trim it off, it lines up perfectly with the lines, or excuse me, with the outer edge of the green triangle. All right, let's get this sewn. Now your next step is to trim a 1/4 inch away from that sewn line, and we're trimming this section off over here. And there you have it. Don't forget to press it. Okay, now for the next step, it's to pull it all together. So let's lay the block out. And there we go. Now, once you've gotten this laid out, you're going to join these three, and these three, and then join the rows together. Press as you go. All right, I'm going to get mine pulled together, show you that block, and then we're going to start the next block. All right, so I have my Spinning Friendship Star block completed, and now let's get started on Aunt Addie's favorite. Side note, I have no idea who Aunt Addy is, but that's just the name of the block. So what we're going to work on this time, or for this block, and this is something that we haven't done yet, is a flying geese unit that is made up of all these triangles. So your side triangles, like your wings, if you will, are made up of 2 triangles. And we also have a square and a square block. So let's get started on making our square and a square. So before I start anything with the square and a square block, I go ahead and I fold the center in half and press. Fold it in half the other way and press with the iron. The next thing I do is I take the triangles that are going to join to it, and I also fold in half and I press so that I can take these pressed marks or creased center marks and align them up and sew. And now they just fit right together right there. All right, let's get this one sewn. Now how we do this is we're going to join opposites first. So do your sides first, press, and then we'll join the top and bottom 2 pieces. All right, I'm going to get mine done and I'll be right back. As you can see, I have the 2 side pieces sewn and pressed, and now we're going to join the 2 top. Afterwards, you're going to trim it to size. So I have my center completed. Now, when you go to trim these to size, you make sure from that crossing of each of the green triangles that you have a 1/4 inch from here to here. And while you're doing it, only trim one side at a time. You make sure that you are not trimming it too short. All right, now let's work on the next piece, which are these flying geese. Now, I lay them out like this all the time, every time I have to make this, so that I keep it in order. And I sew 1 unit of the portion of the flying geese at a time so I don't mess them up, because these are directional. All right, so you have a right side and a left side. I'm going to sew the right side first. You're going to make 4 rights and 4 lefts, and then we will join them to the larger triangle. So you're going to go right sides together, corner to corner, and tip to tip. Now, lead into your sewing machine with this corner right here and sew this way. If you need to put a pin in this side to remind yourself this is the side you're sewing, then go right ahead and do that, or a clip. And get all mine sewn. I'll be right back. I've pieced them, I've pressed them, and you press these seams open. Now we're going to join this to this. And how you do this is you line up these tips right here. So we're going to line up these tips right here, and then this yellow tip will come past the white triangle. It should go past. Let's get this one sewn, and then we'll do the next one. So I've gotten it pressed. Now we're going to align this one, right sides together with the background triangle, and align that tip. It's tip to tip. And then those raw edges, those bias edges are going to be enclosed now. So we're going to join these. All right, there we go. And I've already removed all the little mouse ears, some people call them dog ears, off of this. And make sure before you continue on that this is the size listed in the pattern. If you need to trim anything away, make sure you don't trim your 1/4 inch seam allowance, which is here. All right, so let's lay this out. So you're going to sew these units together to make row 1, sew these units together, row 2, sew these units together to make row 3. Then join the rows 1 to 2 and 3 to 2 and press. And Aunt Addie's favorite is complete. I'm going to get mine pieced and I'll be right back. And there we have it. Both of my quilt blocks are complete. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you've had a wonderful time, and I hope I've helped you create these wonderful quilt blocks. And don't forget, like I said before, we'll see you next week. Please don't forget to subscribe if you liked my video tutorial. And if you'd like, you can visit my website, NancyMcNallyQuilts.com. And do not forget that these blocks are free only for 1 week, and it's in the schedule. If you haven't downloaded the schedule yet, go to my website. Again, it's NancyMcNallyQuilts.com, and you can see on the title bar or in the drop-down menu, Fall Quilt Along 2025. Scroll down and you will see the yardage supply list and the schedule for the release dates for all the quilt blocks. All right, everybody, have a wonderful day, and we will see you soon.